J.J. Watt and the Texans are on the road against the Patriots on Sunday. Yesterday, Bill Belichick compared Watt to one of the greatest defensive players ever, Lawrence Taylor. Belichick coached LT for 10 years back in the 80s. Let's take a listen.
What are the specific characteristics Watt has that Lawrence Taylor had that made him so great?
Motor, effort, strength, quickness, instincts, the ability to make game-changing plays at critical times in the game. Knowing when the big play, critical third down or fourth quarter play or red area play, knowing those critical plays in the game. And as good as Taylor would play all game, that was a time when, he would play at his best.
We're joined by former NFL defensive coordinator Rob Ryan. Welcome, Rob. Good morning.
Great to be here.
Another snazzy jacket today.
Thank you very much.
Like it.
It's my style. That's Paisley, yes, sir.
Yes. Is this a valid comparison?
Yeah, I think, man, Bill sounded really enthusiastic on that. But, he does this. This will be something he does, especially early in the year. He's playing against a great player. He'll bring that up to the media, and everybody will be attracted to that conversation. And there's no talk about the New England Patriots at all. When we played him in Buffalo, it was about Lorenzo Alexander, biggest comeback player of the year. My guy's the best player in the game right now. And I'm telling you, it's what he does. But the thing is, it's true. I mean, J.J. Watt has changed the game, on defense. He is a dominant football player. He's got a unique ability, like Lawrence Taylor could freeze a back and get, he'd get to the quarterback every time, something he did. No back could ever block him. J.J. Watt has a unique ability to swat the ball. Like he's always done that. He's done that better than any player that's ever played the game. Besides all the sacks where you can line him up at every position, right tackle, left tackle, end, middle linebacker. He stands up, he moves around. I mean, he's difficult. Mike Vrabel does a great job of moving him around. And again, honestly, he probably is the most dominant player in defense right now.
I think in this era, you can say that.
Sure.
But can you imagine if Lawrence Taylor got 50 pass rush snaps a game back then? Because you knew back then, Rob, everybody, you wanted defense and you wanted the ability to run the football.
Absolutely.
Because that was transportable.
Sure.
Don't matter the weather condition. It doesn't matter if you're playing in the dome. It doesn't matter if you're playing in the road. The elements did not come into play because I can turn the ball around and hand it to my dominant running back, and then I can turn it over to my defense. The way they throw the ball now, and I'm not trying to minimize J.J. Watt because I think he's a top one or two most dominant defensive players currently playing.
Absolutely.
But when you talk about LT, you're talking about a Mount Rushmore player, not just on the defensive side of the football. And I think, Rob, the thing is that because he's had such off-the-field problems over the last 2 decades, people don't realize how special he was on the field.
Oh, no.
He made you change the way you block. He made the left tackle famous. He made the outside linebacker famous. Joe Gibbs put the H-back position in to deal with that guy. When they'll change their entire offense for this one guy, that lets you know just how special he was. J.J. Watt is the most dominant. I'll go looking at what he's done since he's come into the league in 2011. He is the most dominant defensive player. But I'm not ready to say does he have a motor? Absolutely. Does he play with pad level? He has great leverage. But they don't give him the attention. I don't see a whole lot of double teams on him. You let LT go one-on-one against your back, a tight end or your tackle, you was asking for your quarterback to get hit in the back of his head. That's what you were asking for.
Sure. Yeah, the big thing is, I agree with you 100%. There's been one LT. But to me, the best player on defense since he's been here, just like you said, is J.J. Watt. But he does change the game. He does change the game. Believe me, you're in there scheming up ways to double-team J.J. Watt.
Right.
The toughest thing is you got to find them because they start moving them in different places.
Right.
And that causes problems. Look, the Buffalo Bills played J.J. Watt. They slid the protection wherever he was.
Right.
99. Whoops. Slide left. Oh, he moved to the right. Hey, slide right. They're going to, he still affects games, which LT obviously did. He tilted the field. You saw him there, and you had to do something there or run away over here.
Right.
I mean, you had to he was the most dominant defensive player probably that's ever played.
Lawrence Taylor, wherever he is now, should be offended that Bill Belichick dared to even put J.J. Watt in the same breath with Lawrence Taylor. And I will give you that J.J. Watt is one of the better defenders right now, but he is not transcendent, to use one of your favorite words. He is not all-time impactful. He's not that guy. He's not that guy. No. That guy was scary dominating. That guy terrorized offenses. That guy you could scheme for, and you just couldn't block him.
Sure.
And he took games over to quote Bill Belichick, he made game-changing plays at crucial points. I'm sorry, I don't see it yet from J.J. Watt. I get it that you have to scheme for him, and I see all the potential, but I don't see the productivity from J.J. Watt that you guys talk about in an all-time context because, yeah, Belichick sort of butters him up and heaps pressure on him because Belichick really hadn't had any problem with J.J. Watt in 5 games. He's got a half sack against Belichick. Now, has he batted a pass or two or changed Tom's delivery a couple times? I'm sure he has. But in those games, 5 times against the vaunted Houston Texans defense led by J.J. Watt, New England has scored 42, 41, 34, 27, and 27. So they're not having any problem. And remember, now you've got Jadeveon Clowney, who's, I don't know, I think you got to account for him.
Of course.
And Merciless he's pretty good. You got to account for him. But apparently, you don't have to account. I don't know what's happening because now through 2 games this year, JJ has a grand total of 0 sacks. I need productivity. And I told you the tackles that he's had against Bill Belichick's team. 5 games so far against the Patriots, he's had 4 tackles, 4, 5, 3, and 2. It's not like I look at the stat sheet and say, my God, he took the game over. Do I remember him changing any of those? I do not. So Lawrence Taylor in his career was 10-5 in the playoffs, and he lost 3 times to a dynastic 49ers team in San Francisco, twice to Montana, and once to Steve Young. And then the other time he lost, you know this team, he lost to the 85 Bears in Chicago to your father. And that was, I think it was the greatest defense ever. I know the Rays defense was pretty great, too.
If you look at the NFC East in the 80s, the Eagles had Clyde Simmons and Reggie White. Now, your dad coached Reggie.
And Jerome Brown.
And Reggie was for real. And then you go to the Redskins, Washington. They had Charles Mann, Dexter Manley. Skip, you know about Dexter Manley.
Do I?
Before he got the drugs,
I know.
he was. And then you go to the Giants. If you could not block 56, you couldn't beat the Giants. And that's why Jim Lachey, that's why the Zimmerman, the Eatmans, the Steve Wallaces, that's why they went and got the left tackle. Because if you couldn't block him, you couldn't beat him. I don't care what you did offensively. I don't care how exotic you got in your scheme. If you did not have a left tackle that could deal with him in some capacity, you couldn't beat him. And then everybody said, you know what? We need to get us a LT. Okay, Cornelius Bennett. Okay, Derek Thomas. Okay, Justin Houston. Von Miller, Khalil Mack.
I got
all these guys because of that 56.
Okay, so for perspective, J.J. Watt is now 2-3 in the postseason.
Yes.
And the 2 wins came over Andy Dalton's Bengals in Houston. I don't know. I don't know. I don't see it yet. I don't see game changing.
I mean, hasn't this guy been the defensive MVP for about 3 years in a row?
Yep.
So, I mean, obviously,
maybe
he's playing
the best
pretty darn
we
well.
have now.
But I think like, the stats you're talking about against New England, trust me, they schemed for this guy.
Yeah.
They've got Dante Scarnecchia over there, who's outstanding. The first thing they're going to do is, we got to block 99.
Okay.
That's what they got to do. So they'll figure out a way to do it.
That happens.
That does happen, and they're successful. But he does this to everybody. But the thing he's doing now, he's deflecting. Not one person is talking about the New England Patriots, and that's how he likes it.
And Bill's going to say, and that's the thing. If you just got one guy that he fears, he'll take him away. The thing that happened in the AFC Championship, he had Von Miller. He also had Derek. He had D. Ware. He also had Wolf and Malik Jackson.
He also had a mess of an offensive line without Dante Scarnecchia.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But even if you got
great coaches, make a difference.
And Rob, I think we're going to look for a clip of Bill Belichick sounding enthusiastic. He's kind of just always his tone. Even if he's praising him.
I know.
Are the Rams legit playoff contenders? We'll discuss that next.